Before we start, if you believe hard work should never be erased, subscribe right now, because this story is going to stay with you. Some revenge screams, some revenge cries. But this one, it simply placed the truth on a table and let everyone read it. My father thanked 70 people at his retirement party. 70. The mailman, the catering manager, the assistant who worked there for 6 months. When someone asked about me, he laughed and said into a live microphone, "She's not really worth mentioning." What happened next didn't just end a speech. It ended a legacy. My name is Heather Lawson. 3 years ago, the city approved funding for a pedestrian bridge connecting the east and west sides of Brookvale. 10,000 people cross it every day. Students, nurses, construction workers, parents pushing strollers. The bridge carries my father's name, Lawson Crossing, because according to the city records, my father, Robert Lawson, led the design and structural innovation that made it possible. But that isn't the full story. I was the structural engineer who redesigned the load distribution after the first model failed stress testing. I was the one who stayed up until 3 a.m. recalculating wind resistance after a storm simulation nearly collapsed the design. I was the one who found the flaw in the foundation anchoring system. But my father was the department head. And in our family, that meant something very simple. His name went first. Always. When I joined the firm, people whispered, "Nepotism hire. Must be nice working for daddy." So I worked twice as hard. I arrived before everyone, left after the janitor. When the bridge prototype cracked during pressure testing, my father called an emergency meeting. Everyone panicked. Investors threatened to pull out. My father looked exhausted. And in that moment, I didn't see a boss. I saw my dad. So I fixed it. Quietly. I rewrote the structural equations overnight. Presented the solution to him in his office at 6:10 a.m. He looked at the blueprints for a long time. Then he said something I'll never forget. "This could save the project." He paused. "And it will sound better if it comes from me." I told myself it didn't matter. We were a team. We were family. Family doesn't keep score, right? The press conference announcing the bridge's completion was beautiful. News cameras, city officials, a ribbon cutting. My father stood at the podium. He spoke about innovation, leadership, vision. He thanked his executive board, his senior consultants, his assistant. He didn't say my name. Not once. Later, when I asked him why, he sighed. "You're young, Heather. Recognition comes later." Later never came. Instead, the official plaque was unveiled. Designed and led by Robert Lawson. Just him. That's when I started keeping records. Not out of anger. Out of reality. Every email where I corrected calculations. Every draft blueprint with my annotations. Every timestamp design file. 3 years of documentation. I kept them in a single navy blue folder. I didn't know why at the time. Maybe instinct. Maybe self-preservation. Maybe because somewhere deep down I knew one day someone would ask. And I wanted an answer. 3 years later, my father announced his retirement. The city hosted it in the grand ballroom of Brookvale Hall. 70 guests. Board members. City council. His boss, the regional infrastructure director, Thomas Whitmore. There were speeches. Champagne glasses clinking. Stories about dedication and legacy. Then my father took the stage. He thanked 70 people. 70. And then someone from the back, I still don't know who, asked loudly, "What about Heather?" Laughter rippled across the room. My father smiled into the microphone and said, "She's not really worth mentioning." The room laughed again. 70 people. I didn't cry. I didn't walk out. I walked to the front table, picked up my navy blue folder, and waited. When my father finished his speech, applause filled the hall. Then his boss, Thomas Whitmore, stood up. "Before we conclude," he said, I'd like to recognize someone whose name I've seen repeatedly in internal project audits. The room grew quiet. He turned toward me. Heather Lawson. Would you join us? My father's smile froze. I walked forward. Calmly. Thomas held up a document. A performance review from 3 years ago. It highlights structural corrections that prevented what could have been catastrophic failure. He looked directly at my father. These corrections were made by Heather Lawson. The room stopped breathing. I handed Thomas the Navy folder. Just in case you'd like the full record. He opened it. Page after page of documented proof. Timestamps. Design revisions. Internal approvals. Emails from contractors confirming my changes. The silence in that ballroom felt heavier than concrete. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse. I simply said, I never needed applause. But I won't accept erasure. Thomas Whitmore closed the folder slowly. Legacy, he said into the microphone, is built on truth, not titles. The applause this time was hesitant, but real. My father didn't look at me. Within weeks, the city reviewed the official documentation. The bridge plaque was amended, not removed. Amended. Lead structural engineer, Heather Lawson. Below his name, not replacing him. Standing beside him. My father called me once. He said, "You embarrass me." I said no. I corrected the record. We haven't spoken much since. But something changed. Not in him. In me. Revenge doesn't always destroy. Sometimes it restores balance. The bridge still stands. 10,000 people cross it daily. And now, when engineering students tour the site, they hear the full story. Not about betrayal. About integrity. About documentation. About knowing your worth. Even when the loudest voice in the room pretends you don't have one. If you've ever been erased. If someone has rewritten your work as their own. If you've been told you're not worth mentioning. Remember this. Truth doesn't need to shout. Just needs to be prepared. Keep your receipts. Keep your integrity. And when the moment comes, place the truth where it belongs. If this story meant something to you, subscribe for more real stories about family, ambition, betrayal, and quiet strength. And tell me in the comments, have you ever had to prove your worth in a room that should have already known it? Because sometimes the strongest voice is the one that waited.